Kevin got hit with the
I'm
music.
muted. I got it. Shaun Hoko is not here, so Kevin, the host and producer, is jumping back on the stage. So let's go ahead and start that over. Welcome everybody to episode 114 of Stats Over Politics. We are talking everything week 3, and you guys bet your ass we will be talking about how do you call it? SoFi West? Is that what you call it?
Levi South.
Levi South, excuse me. We will be talking about what happened at Levi South, getting into Kaz and I's Eagles, and then going over the doubleheader that we had in week 3 on Monday Night Football. But before we get it started into that, Toddy, how are we doing today?
I'm all right. Trying to make it happen. Push through all the negative comments that I've been getting from several different fan bases. What happened? You guys are brittle. You guys are in the hospital Niners. Been getting several wheelchair emojis sent to me. So we're just trying to push through. 1 and 2. Gotta get better.
Kaz, how are we doing today, man? Love the jersey. Is that a hold on, let me guess. Is that a Mello?
You know what it is, man. One of the best mid-range shooters of all time, bro. Carmelo Anthony, baby.
That's tough.
Yeah.
How are we doing today, man?
I'm not doing too bad, man. I appreciate you guys getting on here kind of early for you guys. I'm sure you guys probably had to work and all kinds of stuff, but since I couldn't be there yesterday, man, this was the only time that would work for me. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. For me, this is prime hours for me. But y'all on the West Coast, I understand you probably just now getting home, just on wine. I ain't had no dinner, nothing like that yet. I'm already ready to go. So I'm doing good.
It's all good, man. Whenever we can get all 3 of us together, we're gonna get going. And you guys did hear me say all 3 of us for the audio only listeners. Shaun will not be joining us. He is not feeling well, so we are gonna be hoping that he will be back with us next Monday. I repeat, next Monday. This was a 1 week off. We will be consistent for you guys. We want to come for you guys and give you guys what you want every Monday. So we will be doing that. So let's get started right into it. The Commanders beat the Bengals 38-33 on Monday Night Football. Kaz, what were your thoughts?
I almost called this game. When I was doing my predictions, I said to myself, I was like, man, I just have a feeling that the Bengals may not be real. And I think that, beginning of the season, I was, hyping up Joe Burrow before the season started, saying like, yo, this is for sure going to be a revenge tour all day. Going to, take the league by storm. Jamar Chase, he's showing up blonde hair. Jamar Chase cut the dreads off, cut the braids off. I'm like, all right, I see it. I know it's about to happen. Y'all thought we forgot about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and they're gonna shake some shit. Well, I also said at the same time that the Commanders, before the season started, I'm like, they made some good moves. If you look at their roster on paper, it's not a bad roster. They're only missing a quarterback. And the addition of Austin Eckler, which has turned out tremendous for them. I mean, he balled out too this last game. I unfortunately took the Bengals to win, but trust me, I was very much so back and forth. I'm like, this could go either way. And I was kind of low key hoping that the Bengals would win just for, NFC East purposes, even though I'm not scared of the Commanders. But I was like, if they don't win and the Commanders actually take them out, I'm like, I got Jaden Daniels being my front runner for, rookie of the year. And I said that, I think, a couple weeks back. I'm like, this guy's going to be a candidate for sure. And after tonight, he's for sure the leader, without a doubt. So I'm excited to see some good football come out of more than just the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East. And I'm kind of low-key digging the fact that, they're handling some good teams out there. They're gonna make it very difficult for a lot of teams that should be doing really well to win against them. So they got the Cardinals next week or this coming week, and they're coming to that game 5-point underdogs. I'm like, I don't really see it. So good game by the Commanders. I don't really consider them a super rival of us, but they are in the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? I hate the Cowboys. I don't really care for the Giants, and the Commanders haven't been a problem for how long, so it's whatever. But it's hard to not root for Jaden Daniels. Just like there's a lot of guys out there, part of the NFC East, and part of the NFC saying it's hard not to root for Jalen Hurts. It's hard not to root for Jaden Daniels. So good game by the Commanders.
Yes, Toddy. And for the first comment of the day from my father, Smov, Bengals are in trouble. So, Toddy, are the Bengals in trouble? I have a fun fact for you. They are 0-3 now, as we all know. Since 2000, I have the wrong day. Let me go ahead and give it to you right. So, they are 0-3. In the past 20 years, there's been 120 teams to go 0-3 and not make the playoffs. There has been one team, and it was a 2018 Houston Texans. Is this going to be a Bengals turnaround from 0-3 to the playoffs?
I think this Bengals team is definitely in trouble. I think they have a lot of losses on on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, they still have Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, who's on my fantasy team. I feel like their offense is really potent. It seemed like Jamar Chase did whatever he wanted to do. Joe Burrow, I don't believe he turned the ball over yesterday. So it's not the offense fault. Defensive side of the football has to be better. The Commanders, I did say it on our prediction show before the season started. Got the Commanders going to the playoffs. I have them in second in the NFC East. I have them splitting with mainly everybody in their division for most games. That includes the Philadelphia Eagles. So, as Kaz already mentioned, not worried about the Commanders. I would double take on these guys down in DC. But the Bengals, it's going to be hard to kind of climb back into the AFC picture, playoff picture, because they're already behind so much. Good hell, the Steelers are 3-0, and they're leading the division. The Ravens obviously had a slow start, but they're still 1-2. So everybody, and the Browns are just, I don't know what the Browns are, but the Browns play the Bengals usually really well every time they play against each other. But it's going to be tough because you kind of look at the AFC picture. It's all right, there's the Chiefs, there's the Bills. Houston's probably going to be really good. The Jets are another surprise team. The Steelers are 3-0. It's just you're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. It's like the Commanders. The Bengals are already behind the 8 ball, so it's like. And Kev already kind of gave you the stats on 0-3 teams that make the playoffs. It's very tough to make the playoffs starting 0-3, and we always go back to the quote that Joe Burrow says. The Super Bowl window is however long I'm playing. It's not looking like a very good year. Kev's going to get on me for Zach Taylor being 0-3 and Nick Sirianni is 2-1. And he's going to say he was 7th and the coaches voted him 7. He wasn't even on the list. What's wrong with this guy? Who made this list? Sirianni. Hey, makes people get fired for shit like this. And Sirianni's 2-1 and all this other stuff. So that's just something. That's what a normal Kevin conversation sounds like when he called me the other day. But I mean, you can't start 0-3. Like these are like the Patriots. That's a team you're supposed to be. I feel like everybody, when we kind of broke down the Bengals schedule, Patriots are a team that's going to be picking in the top 5. They had no business winning that game. This game was the game they were 8.5-point favorites, which I thought was a little high. I did think the Commanders would cover the spread, but I mean, this is young team. They got a young quarterback. You're at home. It's like these are games you're supposed to win. And I do want to point out Luke McCaffrey was second. Luke McCaffrey, a guy that Kevin is not very high on. He was second in receiving for the team. So he used that name, Kev. But I mean, I forgot who they lost to last week. I forgot who they played last week.
Well, who you talking about? What team?
Giants last week.
Oh, Washington?
No. The Bengals. Who'd they lose to last week?
The Patriots does first.
No.
I can look it up.
They played. This is race. Who's got it first?
I mean, it's kind of just comes down to
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
That was the PI that wasn't called.
PI, yeah, they had a bad call. Shit kind of goes their way. But these are, at worst, they should be 2-1 right now. But I mean, you're on 3, and you are what your record says you are, as a lot of people kind of come out and say. And the Bengals are 0-3, and especially in that division, as I feel like a lot of people would say, it's a very, very tough division to play in. I mean, you got Lamar, you got, the Steelers. That defense is very, very tough. Very physical division is what it's really known for being. But the Browns are going to be the Browns. But, I mean, you got to start racking some wins up here. So, I mean, the Bengals definitely have to turn it up a notch. The defense has to get better. Because, I mean, the Commanders damn near came to your house, put up 40 points. 40 points. This is a rookie quarterback. This is his 3rd game ever in the NFL. And you gotta dig deep. I don't know if they make the play. It's gonna be tough to make the playoffs. I don't know if I would cancel them out and say, hey, if they're not gonna make it, they're cooked. Now, if we go into next week and they lose next week 0-4, you're donezo. Dunzini. So Bengals, they definitely have to kind of dig deep, figure out there definitely has to be some adjustments made. And I feel like the offense is fine. It's more so on the defensive side of the football. So, Commanders, be on the lookout for them.
Bengals' next 2 games are Browns and Eagles.
All right.
So against the Browns.
They're desperate. They need wins.
And that's crazy. Those are 2 must-win games too for them. Let's just call it what it is. That's not a good spot to be in.
So Toddy came in here.
Play the Browns stuff.
So Kaz said we didn't have to worry about the Commanders, and Toddy said I have to second that. A couple seconds ago, Toddy said you are what your record says you are.
Cool.
So they beat the Giants. We think the Giants are good, and they beat an 0-3 Bengals team. They beat an 0-3 Bengals team.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Let's see who the Giants are beating.
The
Browns.
Did you just say you don't know if the Giants are good?
I don't know.
Oh my God, bro! Come on, please, man.
The Giants are not good, but
bro,
I second what Kaz said.
Malik Neighbors is great.
There you go.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is great, and that's about it. So, are we worried about Washington? No. Have they shown a lot? Yeah. I saw 2 games of no Terry McLaurin. Then it's a Luke McCaffrey and, Toddy. Can you name me another receiver on that team? Because I've been seeing a lot of Zach Ertz.
Yeah, Zach Ertz, Luke McCaffrey.
I said him. So they got Terry.
Terry McLaurin.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they got guys. Austin Eckler gonna be out there.
I'm just saying, Toddy. This is the Philadelphia Eagles here. They're not
better.
You're not saying the Commanders are better than the Saints, are you?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just saying you are what your record says you are.
The 2-1. They got a better record than us. God damn.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, but it was great to see him get Terry McLaurin involved. Like I mentioned before the game, they asked him, what's going on? You're not getting numbers. What are you telling people? And he's like, you know what? I don't want to be a diva. This is my rookie's quarterback, 3rd game in the NFL. If me coming in here being a diva is going to do anything, it's going to do nothing but deter him. All I want to do is win games, and that's what you need in that locker room. Because on that 3rd down, 0 blitz, what did Terry McLaurin tell him in the huddle? Trust me. He ain't looked nowhere else. He said, height. He's coming. Touchdown. If they can get that going, Terry McLaurin has gone through a number of quarterbacks. We're not even going to get into it. But I'll just date how long Terry McLaurin's been. He was with the You Like That. That's how long Terry McLaurin has been dealing with shitty quarterback play in Washington. Jaden Daniels is coming in here and changing the dynamic of this team. We saw it with RG3 for a little bit, and besides there, it's just been a lot of hit and miss. But now I think they have their quarterback, and I think we're watching a replay of last year when the second quarterback taken, like Kaz says, walks away with the Rookie of the Year. Let's just compare the generational quarterback, the Heisman winner, the number 1 overall pick. 697 yards, 59% completion, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks. His team is 1-2. Should be 0-3 if it wasn't for Will Levis mayonnaise, but you know what? It is what it is. Jaden Daniels stats, 835 yards, 80% completion, 5 total touchdowns, 0 picks, leading his team to a 2-1 overall record. You are what your record says you are, Toddy, right? That's all I'm saying. Your boy's struggling over there, but we're going to get into that later, and you already know I'm going to pick you to talk about that game, so I hope you're ready for it. So moving on to the other Monday Night Football game, the Buffalo Bills took Dougie P and the Jaguars down 47-10. Kaz, I'm sure you have some love in your heart for Dougie P. I texted the group chat last night, and I said, I literally might shed a tear when I get the no, Dougie P has been fired. And I just wanted to get another Eagles fan's perspective at Dougie P. Is it Dougie P? Is it Trevor Lawrence? We're talking about in this group chat. What are their Jaguars' main problems?
Yeah, I think it's more Trevor than Dougie P for sure. It's more Trevor than Dougie P. Trevor Lawrence looks really bad. It's undeniably bad. I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think because he had the one season where he went over 4,000 yards. Christian Kirk had a good season. Evan Ingram had a good season. I don't think that he's as bad as he's playing right now. But watching the game, I'm like, dude, you are making the worst decision when shit hits the fan. At the end of the day, the quarterback makes the final decision on what he does with that ball in his hands. And Trevor Lawrence just seems to make the worst decisions almost every time. At that point, you can't really blame the head coach. But the head coach doesn't get off scot-free because the play calling at times is very questionable. But, it's on both sides of the ball. It's when it comes to especially the Buffalo Bills, when you're putting up 4 touchdowns before the first half, I think it was. Josh Allen's great, but I think that the Jaguars defense just completely shit the bed. They weren't prepared, and the Bills just took full advantage of that. I think that's a coaching issue at that point. Also, when it comes to the offense, like I said about Trevor Lawrence with his decision making, I'm like, bro, just get rid of the ball, man. Get out of the pocket. Why are you not moving? You see the pocket collapsing, you are in danger. Throw the ball away, and it's just nope. I'm gonna do the polar opposite of what Kaz thinks. And I like to think I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So I'm like, Trevor, man, I'm watching you, man. You don't seem like you really give a damn. You don't really seem like you're invested, and it's just bad all around. So I think there's some blame to go around everywhere, but seeing Trevor play that bad, I mean, I got to put a ton of blame on him. A lot more blame on him than I do Doug Peterson. They're getting, the running backs the ball. We saw a little bit of a burst from ETN late in the fourth quarter. Tank Bigsby, he's been okay at times, throughout the first 3 weeks. And they're offensive guys. Like sometimes they're getting open, but Trevor's just throwing into double coverage, or he's not taking the checkdowns when they're there. So it's like, I think that I'll give it 70% Trevor Lawrence's fault, 30% Doug Peterson. If I'm being generous, I'll say 65, 35. So.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to see it, man, because you see what Doug P can do. He took Trevor Lawrence to the playoffs. Toddy, you're messing with the mic, man. I'm going to need you to mute yourself. But when we saw what he could do with the Eagles, we saw that he took Trevor Lawrence to the playoffs. But unfortunately, I think it's Trevor Lawrence. If you're going to say who takes more of the blame, it has to be Trevor Lawrence, because I don't know if you guys understand this, but he ain't won since week 12 last week.
9 straight losses.
We talk about the Eagle streak. He's 1 game away from being up there with us. He shambles. He crumbles in the worst times. And yes, I know people want to sit here and say, look at his receiving core. Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud. I think Christian Kirk is really good. So, and then he has Evan Ingram, so who was hurt. So I get that. But like Kaz mentioned, when you have a backfield of Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne, you really can't complain. There's a lot of weapons in place. Like Kaz mentioned, the defense didn't come to play. No matter how good the offense was going to play, giving up 4 first-half touchdowns to the Buffalo Bills, you're cooked. We saw who did they play on Monday night when they gushed him with James Cook 3 times? Oh, was it? Who did they play?
Thursday night against
that was the Dolphins.
The Dolphins, yes.
The Dolphins.
James Cook came out just like this. Boom, 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 boom. You get behind this team. Josh Allen this year has shown that they're not going to give up that lead. And when Josh Allen comes off the field, Ed Davis is scoring touchdowns. Khalil Shakir is a number 1 wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Keon Coleman got into the end zone. This team is they have everything going on. And I didn't even mention Dalton Kincaid, and all fantasy knowers know that tight ends have just kind of been a tanker this year. So the Buffalo Bills have a lot going for them, and Josh Allen is going to be able to take them to this next step. So, Toddy, I want to get your thoughts on this. After the game, Josh Allen said, people aren't coming out there worrying about their stats, worrying about their targets. And for them to come out 3-0, what are your thoughts on the Buffalo Bills' hot start?
I think, Josh Allen's like the prohibited favorite currently right now to win MVP, basically at all sports books. I think this game in particular kind of comes down to I think the Jags are bad. It's kind of a mixture of Dougie P and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a game since week 12 last year. As Kevin already mentioned earlier, that's a pretty bad stat. But I mean, he has solid receiving core. There's ETN back there, his old college running mate. He has Christian Kirk, who's a good shifty receiver. He has Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is a stud receiver from LSU. And it's it's not really clicking for them. Doug Peterson, I think he said something today about they got to make some adjustments throughout the team. And I think they were kind of trying to ask him about the quarterback, what's going on with Trevor. And they're like, we got to evaluate every position. And so kind of with that, you got to look yourself in the mirror. How good is this team going into it? I feel like the Jags kind of peaked that year when they played, when they made the playoffs and Trevor Lawrence threw all those picks, but then they ended up coming back and winning the playoff game against the Chargers. And then going to Jacksonville, and Mahomes gets hurt in that game. That was their window right there to win. When Mahomes got hurt in the second round of the playoffs, the divisional round, at Arrowhead, and they weren't able to get the job done, I feel like that was their window to kind of make a little bit of a run. But as we all know, blaming on the Henny came in and got the job done. So for now, it's kind of like, okay, Doug Peterson, you're in another year with Trevor Lawrence, just got paid, and he's playing bad. So it's like, they ain't going to get rid of Trevor Lawrence. We just paid him all this money. So the scapegoat is, unfortunately, your guys' old Super Bowl winning coach in Dougie P. So this might be his final run as, being a head coach. I don't know if he's good with being an offensive coordinator, but I think his coaching days are going to kind of be numbered after this season because if Trevor Lawrence just doesn't miraculously start playing well out of the blue, it's going to be – when was the last time you guys can remember the Jags were good? Like they were a team that was getting to the playoffs every year. I'm kind of going back to like Mark Brunell, David.
I'm going back to like I'm talking what's his name?
Brian
Jalen Ramsey. That they had a top defense. They almost went to the Super Bowl that year. If I'm not mistaken.
The Bortles,
Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey.
They made it to the AFC Championship game. So
it was lit.
I don't like the Jags, and that was like a one-hit wonder year. And the year after that, they sucked. So it's like
definitely a one-hit wonder.
Consistently, are the Jags like maybe it's an organizational thing? Like it's like they can catch fire one year, and the next year it's like we missed the playoffs. Like the Ravens don't just miss the playoffs in consecutive years. Like the Patriots, when Tom Brady was there, they didn't really miss the playoffs like that. Like Eagles, they don't miss the playoffs on a consistent basis. Like there are teams throughout the NFL that are kind of just like they can never really get their shit together, but they got a solid quarterback, and maybe we could string some things together in a year or two, and then everything else is like, we're picking in the top 10. So the Jags, man, they're kind of in a tough spot because they just paid their quarterback a shit ton of money, and he sucks. So, and there were people already out there. Kind of Richard Sherman is a guy who I give a lot of credit to. Like, hey, man, he's got Daniel Jones-like numbers, and we're paying him how much money? How much money is he getting paid? So he's a guy that I saw that was kind of early on it before he ended up getting a paycheck. And it's like, all right, you got a playoff win. What have you done for me lately? Let's slow down on how much money you're going to be making. But some of these organizations, they just get trapped, and they're just like, we don't want to be irrelevant. But it's like you're going to have a high-paid quarterback and still be irrelevant. So it's like some organizations don't really know how to pivot, and they're just stuck, and then they suck forever. I feel like the Jags have kind of just sucked for the majority of my life.
You're not speaking no lies, brother. So moving on, we have SoFi South, as Toddy likes to say. Levi South, excuse me. I'm so confused. Levi South, what the Niner fans call it, because they go down there and they dominate. They think it's just a cakewalk when they go down there. So, Kaz, I'm going to swing it to you first. What were your thoughts on the Rams beating the 49ers 27-24?
I don't understand what's going on with these first few weeks, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. When it comes to my pick'em, it's the worst I've started in 4 years of making YouTube content. I think that we're gonna see more of it this week. When you guys see me drop my video tomorrow on my picks for week 4, there's one in there. There's one in there that everybody's gonna be like, "Are you an idiot?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not," because I've already seen like 5 or 6 games where I'm like, "How?" Brock Purdy played perfect. He played perfect. He had all the yards. He did what he needed to do. It doesn't matter if you guys were without Debo. You still had Jaevon Jennings, who clearly is the guy to go to when there is nobody else. He had 1,000,001 yards. Well, how many touchdowns did he have?
3
touchdowns. And then Jordan Mason didn't have a bad game. He still had I think 77 yards, if I can remember off the top of my head, which isn't bad for a backup, third string quarterback technically. He was technically your third guy coming into the season.
Yes.
But regardless, he's no CMC. 77 yards with Brock Purdy putting up 1,000,000 yards and having 3 touchdowns, and also having 41 on the ground. Brock Purdy did, and then your defense, your defense isn't bad. Like there's no, I would not look at the Niners defense even if they had some holes, which I don't think they do right now. And I would go, oh yeah, they're gonna have a problem against the 49ers or against the Rams, who are missing everybody. And this was one of those games, like I just said, this coming week, I picked a crazy upset, and I'm going to stick by it because I just, not by logic, because I gotta politic here. But like, there's no way in hell the Rams should have won that game, being at home or anything. You had Stafford and Kyron Williams, and then a questionable defense. They had guys missing everywhere. They had Tutu Atwell? That was the number one for that game?
Yep.
And the 49ers are a top team in the NFC. They're still a top team. And your quarterback played phenomenal, and you guys still lost. It shouldn't have been that close at all. The Rams played a great game given the adversity that they had to deal with. But the Niners came out probably just a little too lax. You need to get everybody more involved. And Brandon Ayuk, this was your time to shine, man. And you're going to get another opportunity next week. And I think that you guys do get back. I really do. Granted, I think you guys have a pretty easy game. Who do you guys got?
Patriots.
You got the Patriots next week. So help me God.
I would hope so.
So help me God, bro. And I'm pretty sure it's in Sanford. I'm pretty sure. Yep. So handle your business. Get back. Brandon Ayuk, have a great game. But this past week, man, it's just one of those games where it's like, who called it? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's analytics out there that showed the amount of sports bettors that did not take even the Rams to cover the spread. And it is what it is, man. So just another weird game in another weird week of football, and it happened to be the San Francisco 49ers falling to the LA Rams.
So we got a YouTube comment. It's a long season, a lot of injuries. You can tell he's a Niner fan. Lots of injuries is correct. 104,895,310 are going into these injured players. Jeez. We talked about the Niners going to San Francisco and losing. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and lob Toddy for this. So, Toddy, the Niners were 50-0, went up 14 points in the second half under Kyle Shanahan. Great play caller, whatever you want to call him. The Rams had 101 straight losses, down 14 in the second half. And yet the Rams come back to beat the San Francisco 49ers. What were your reactions?
Going into the game, I was kind of shocked on the spread still being kind of high. It was at like 6.5. It was at 7.5. Debo News dropped to like 6. Kittle News, it dropped to like 5.5. I think that's what it ended up closing at. I was never really worried about the game going into it. I was just like, this is another day. We're going to have the majority of the fans there. That's usually how the game goes. Where I think Shanahan's like in his last 8 games against McVay, he's like 6-2. So it was like, this is a routine game for us. So every time we go there, it's pretty easy. They're missing a bunch of guys. We're missing a bunch of guys. I feel like our team is still better. Popped out to a 14-0 lead. Purdy looked good. Jordan Mason was running all over the place. Jawan Jennings was playing with his hair on fire. It was like, okay, this is kind of what we need. Game's starting to get a little closer. They ran the fake punt. That kind of I feel like changed the tide of the game because we stop them or we get a stop on that drive. We probably end up getting the ball go up 21-0 and kind of put the nail in the coffin for the game. I feel like the fake punt changes everything. Purdy had, I believe it was 8 incompletions. 6 of those were drops. 3 of those drops came from one guy, Ronnie Bell. Our defense was getting torched by no-name receivers. I mean, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Wilmington, or whatever. These guys were killing us. And Stafford played a hell of a game. At the end of the game, we had a chance at the end to go up 2 scores with, I believe it was 3 minutes left. Moody lines up for a 55-yard field goal. And every time he goes up for a kick, most Niner fans have to close their eyes because it's very 50-50 with him. It shouldn't be that with kickers, especially when you draft him in the 3rd round, but that's neither here nor there. Moody shanks the field goal. Rams obviously get the ball back and drive down and score. Now we're in a game, or actually, I think it was we were down or we were up 7 We're up 7 at that point. And then we missed a field goal. They go down and score. The game is tied. Purdy gets the ball back. He's driving down the field. It was pretty routine. I'm like, okay, we're going to go down. We got Purdy. We're going to go down. We're going to score. We're going to win. Obviously, he had the long ball to Ronnie Bell that he dropped, which would have put us in field goal range. And we would have been able to run the clock out and be able to kick a field goal with time expiring. That doesn't happen. We're too far away from a field goal try, and there's too much time on the clock. We punt the ball. They return it like 40 yards. That's amazing. They get all the way down, kick a field goal, and win the game. We just lost to the Rams. We're 1-2 now. Debo's doing a podcast. Brandon Ayuk is getting paid a shit ton of money, and he's nowhere to be found. He had 44. I think he had 5 receptions for 44 yards. I couldn't even point out Brandon Ayuk's catches. Like, I saw him catch a pass late in the game, and I'm like, was that BA's first catch of the game? Like, he's invisible. So it's like, I need you to step up. Because I'm looking at guys like Justin Jefferson dancing in the end zone regularly. There's guys like Jamar Chase, who just had 2 touchdowns yesterday. Now, it was before Sunday. But he's out there, and he's a guy that was asking for money. I mean, I saw Amari Cooper, a guy who we were going to trade for. He got and found the end zone yesterday. So it's like, we need to figure out what it is with you. This is kind of what happens when you miss camp. You fuck around with camp, you're slow and you're sluggish. And you're nowhere to be found. You're dropping balls like Trent Williams. I need you to be better. I get it. You're one of the greatest offensive tackles of all time. You're going to be in the Hall of Fame. I need him to be better. It's like the only guy I kind of really – Jawan Jennings would have obviously gotten the game ball because, as Kevin likes to say, he's a third-down receiver, and he is. But he only – what happens when Jawan Jennings got to go out there and he got to catch route? He got to go out there and he can't be third and Jawan no more. Well, he came out and he showed his ass on Sunday. I think Brock Purdy played well. He showed that he can play without weapons. This would have been the perfect game to see our rookie, Ricky Pearsall, who obviously got shot. Can't really do shit about that. I mean, if it happens in life, things you really can't control. This would have been the perfect Ricky Pearsall game. The Niners need to wake the fuck up and fast, because if you lose to the Patriots at home, people are going, like, shit's going to start.
Riot.
It's going to get bad. Like, people are going to start calling for people's jobs. Like, this is a Super Bowl. Like, my Debo, I love you. Why are we going on the podcast right now? This is not podcast time. I love you. I know you're one of the better receivers in the league. I get it. You're hurt. Need some shit to do. This is not the time to be doing all this shit right now. We need to lock the fuck in, because right now we're 1-2 and we're staring down the barrel of 1-3, missing the playoffs. Like, the stats start to come out like, all right, the teams that have been 1-3 are this and that. Like, this is a team that last year we're literally a play away from winning the Super Bowl. So it's like Super Bowl hangover. I'm not going to say it's that, because we have a bunch of injuries going on. So we need to kind of like figure out what the fuck we need to do. We need to do it fast, because this shit right here is not working. And I get Jordan Mason. He's having 100 yards here, 100 yards there. Like, these are guys that are, you know, second string guys, not even starters, and they're playing their ass off. I need the guys who are making $50 million, $30 million a year. My quarterback who isn't making anything, he's playing his ass off because he needs some money coming up. Brandon Ayuk, I need you to step up. I need you.
Come on, Scammers boy.
I need you. We need you. We need you to step up. We know what you are. We know what you can be. We need you to show that. This 45, we can't be having you have 40 yards a game. You making $30 million a year.
He need to be the new Den of Thieves.
That shit, like, I need these guys to play better.
So before we move on,
I want to wait one second. I just want to say something.
Ahead.
You mentioned Jaevon Jennings. You know how they used to call him third and Jawan or whatever. He's showing signs of being like how T. Higgins was just the other year, where it's like, dog, maybe you might be a little bit better than what people give credit to because
Kevin,
he's been the only guy really balling out over there. And he also has done it last year in a couple big games. So it's like
7th round.
I don't think that he is some top in wide receiver. He ain't no top 10 guy, no top whatever. But I do think that he's showing like, hey man, Debo don't want to show up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to show up, man. Give me the ball and watch what I do with it. So I'm gonna give a little credit where credit's due. I think Jaevon Jennings has done it more than once. He's done it a handful of times. I think that he's definitely showing signs of being a T. Higgins type player. So yeah.
Boy, Kaz, I was ready to move on, and then you came on here screaming that foolishness. Jaevon Jennings, T. Higgins, huh? 2021, 282 yards. 2022, 416. 2023, 265. 2024, Kaz said he had a good year. 276.
But how many receivers?
Good moments. He's number 3.
Had a day like him though. Just receivers in general.
I mean, let's be real, you guys. Let's be real. Number 1 option, CMC's not playing.
He's not.
Number 2, Debo not playing. Number 3, Kittle not playing. Ricky's not there. What are you gonna do? Put T.O.'s son out there? You gotta throw the ball to somebody. And he made the most of his opportunity. But the T. Higgins comparison, it's kind of crazy. He had a good game. Just like Toddy said, these are second and third stringers.
A couple good games in the last
couple of highlights. This was a good game. Besides this, it's the Super Bowl touchdown pass, nothing else the rest of the Sunday. A couple years, he'll get a third down, big conversion, and then he's third and Juwan. When you're not on the scouting report on big plays, sometimes you get open. But before we move on, I just want to give a dive into Toddy's text messages to me at 1:57. He said, Jaevon Jennings, blank, blank. I said, congrats. He's got a touchdown against the Rams. You guys are playing UCLA. He's got 2 touchdowns, Kevin. I said, you're playing UCLA with Matthew Stafford. I said, that goes to show how much I don't care. He says, he's like that. Respect him. I said, yeah, he's like that. But he got me, you, Kaz, and Shaun out there playing receiver.
Well, no, wait. No, I wasn't that bad. Okay,
you could have been 2-2. See? But I'm sitting here like, Toddy, I get it, This is fun. You're winning. UCLA can't stop you. But then, sometimes you start to sweat between your legs, under your arms. Moody went out there. And before we move on, the kicking this year has been absolutely nuts. When Jake Elliott kicked from 65 in a dome, I almost blew my head up. People are tipped in crazy shit now.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the best part of Kaz and I's weekend and probably the worst part of Toddy's. We are now going to preview the Philadelphia Eagles beating the New Orleans Saints 15-12. And before I pass it on, there's 4 people that do picks every week. One of them chose the Eagles. It wasn't the man to my left. It was Kevin Dent through and through. I believe. So I'm going to swing it to you, Toddy, because you were one of the guys calling me before the game saying, damn, Kev, 1-2, huh? Y'all going to New Orleans? What you going to do? Who's going to do something? Quinion? You put Cooper DeJean out there? No AJ Brown. What you going to do? So, Toddy, we go to New Orleans, book the Airbnb for our next trip, and then we also put down a dominant performance. What were your thoughts on the Eagles being down?
Crazy. It wasn't a dominant performance. You guys escaped with a victory in New Orleans. Now, this was a game that I was like, okay, I feel like the Saints, they're hot. Eagles are coming off of a loss to Atlanta on primetime and on Monday Night Football. So it's like, this is a good game. It's a bad spot for them. AJ Brown's not playing. I get Devontae Smith is, one of the higher paid receivers in the league. Let's kind of figure out and see what that secondary looks like. And I thought your guys' defense showed up. Now, I also did say this could be the game that Derek Carr turns into a frog. You know, he's been riding high, scoring all these points. Shaheed, who scored 0 points in fantasy last week, is catching bombs left and right. AK is running all over the place. The Saints are back. They got a great defense, who I still think the Saints have a really good defense. They only gave up 15 points. It's not their fault the quarterback couldn't get the ball in the end zone. So it's like they need something to happen. I thought Sirianni made some very questionable calls, kind of going for it on fourth when they could have just kicked the field goal. Nobody was really scoring. That was a crazy call, I thought. Let's be honest, Saquon saved y'all. He had the 65-yard run. He's been playing out of his ass. He's been playing like the Rents do. And, you know, being able to have that guy who can break it off for 65 yards at any given moment, it helps for sure. I thought Jalen Hurts had a bad pick in the end zone. Now, this has kind of been a reoccurring thing for him week after week. He's going to throw you one. If not one, he's going to throw you two. Each and every week, Jalen Hurts throwing a pick. So I feel like that's something he's got to work on. But other than that, I thought he played pretty well. Dallas Goedert got wide open on a cross route. Took it 50 yards. That was pretty much the game right there. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson took the liberty of tweeting. Said, y'all favorite cornerback couldn't catch a tight end. I thought that was hilarious. CJ he be going at people. I think he went at Michael Parsons today on Twitter. I'll let y'all kind of dissect whatever that is going on. But I thought the defense played way better than it played in previous weeks. They've been getting up yards like it's nobody's business. I thought the difference was Saquon Barkley. And obviously, another thing that happened in this game, Devontae Smith, he went down with a concussion, I think. Don't know what his status will be like. You guys, I'll leave the Eagle experts to dissect that. But, yeah, the Eagles they're 2-1. They escaped with a victory in New Orleans, and they should be feeling good, right?
I, for one, am feeling great. Kaz, I'm going to swing it to you next. Our Philadelphia Eagles go down to New Orleans and beat the Saints 15-12. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. So for the pick'em, all right, I did pick the Saints to win. Not because I believed it, because I was just gambling. All right. I mean, just again, a very weird 2 weeks of football. I'm like, man, we just lost to the Falcons, bro. Saints out here putting up 45 a game. I'm like, bro, we should win this game. But for some stupid reason, watch us start off 1-2 and have to, dig ourselves out, which if we do, we will. I'm still going to stick to my guns. I think we will win the NFC, whether we start off 1-2 or not. And we ended up getting the win. Now, what I saw was I'm slowly but surely learning who Jalen Hurts really is. And it's not even about the picks. It's about, like, he really is, like, an adversity handling monster. Like, the dude, this is the second week, or what was it, the first week? Who we had the first week? Green Bay. Starting off with just, two pretty bad picks. And then when it came to closing out the game, he did what he needed to do. All right. Then you talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Definitely not a Jalen Hurts issue. Not talking about that at all. It wasn't a Jalen Hurts issue. Overall, it was play calling. It was a little bit of Hurts. But when it was time to show up, he shows up every time. It's just you can't have a whole season where you have 17 games and you have 17 game-winning drives. That's the recipe for disaster. Nobody can do that. And it just seems like the Eagles and Jalen Hurts keep being put in the same position every time. And more often than not, and his winning record shows, he delivers. All right. So when it comes to this game, yeah, Jalen Hurts had a bad pick. Big whoop. He showed up at the very end, game-winning drive. He was pretty much surgical when he needed to be, and that's what good quarterbacks do. I do agree with what Toddy said. You still got to clean it up. I'm not going to sit around and say, oh, these picks are okay. They're not okay. But at the same time, when you got Saquon Barkley in the backfield, give him the damn ball, bro. Just give him the ball. It opens up so much more for your offense. You got Devonta Smith in the game, who I still think that if he didn't go out, he ends up with 100-plus yards for sure. I think he had like 77 or something like that. I think that he ends up with 100 yards. He might even get in the end zone. But that's besides the point. Jalen Hurts had to do it with nobody. I mean, he had to do it with backup wide receivers in Dallas Goedert. What's that?
White boy. Who's the white boy on y'all team?
Brandon Covey.
Yeah, he was out there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Out there.
Return. That's how you know we down bad.
Out there, you know what I'm saying? Out there again, busy, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm not really sure what Nick Sirianni's plan is with Saquon Barkley. Maybe he's looking for longevity to make a run, but it's like, dude, I've said it back in the day when we had Miles Sanders for like his second year, and not because of who Miles Sanders was in his second year, but I'm like, guys, just run the damn offense through a running back, and it'll open up everything else on the outside. We don't need to force Jalen Hurts or whoever, even at the time, like Carson Wentz, to be freaking Peyton Manning, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't need that. It'd be nice, don't get me wrong, but why are we trying to make a guy who has a different dynamic be the guy who's going to just thread the needle, get 350, 4 touchdowns, have a Josh Allen game. All right, Josh Allen's not even going to have a game like he just had last week again. And he played one of the worst teams in the league. You see what I'm saying? So us playing the Saints, that's a good defense. I don't want to call them a dirty defense, but they're a very, very gritty defense, very gritty. In New Orleans, coming off of 2 really good games and seeing the Philadelphia Eagles, good teams find a way to win games, and that's exactly what we did. We had to face a little bit of adversity, but so did they. But at the same time, did they really? Our defense showed the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Derek Carr was in hell. You got Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis showing motherfuckers, hey, Jordan Davis probably saw them tweets. They was dogging Jordan Davis. Was this a bust of a draft pick all over? Because I mean, he hasn't really done much besides some here and there stuff since he's been in the league. Next next game, boom, Jordan Davis getting active. Jalen Carter, probably the best defensive tackle that's been drafted in the last couple of years. Okay, Quinion Mitchell, stats don't lie. I don't care who he's lining up against. Stats do not lie. All right, the guy's going out there playing some good ass football, being thrown to the wolves because Isaiah Rodgers was the starter. He's playing nickel, and since week 1, he's done phenomenal. And then you got Darius Slay out there doing his thing. Reed Blankenship, he's the highest graded safety in the league right now. Y'all probably didn't know that, right? And then you got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who, I mean, he's just a dog. He's out here sticking mugs. If you're not seeing it, bro, you better go back and watch the film. So the defense actually did play very well this last game. The defense, I'm going to stick to it. I think that at the end of the season, if they get their shit together and get everybody back healthy, we might end up having a top 5 defense. I won't say it yet, but it's possible. All right, not 1, 2, 3, 4, but I can see us having a top 5 defense if we can keep playing the way that we played. So we held the Saints, who had the highest average of points scored in the game, going into week 3 to, I don't know how many points. I don't really care. Not a lot. Was it 9? What, 10? 10 points? Yeah, and they scored at the very end of the game, so it was 3 points. The Eagles defense showed up. Jalen Hurts was surgical to matter the most. I think that if we get these next couple wins, we're still knocking off some rust. The Eagles will be a true problem. Right now, it's kind of up in the air. We'll be okay because there's a lot of questionable football being played by the entire league besides like 2 teams, which is the Bills and Chiefs. They're the only 2 teams I've seen so far. I'm like, okay, you guys are legit. You know what I'm saying? I can't take it from you. I ain't talking about the goddamn Seahawks. I think they still got some holes somewhere. And I ain't going to talk about the Steelers. All right? Something's going to give at some point. So right now, the entire league is not playing great. And we're still 2-1. So hard-fought game. Good teams find ways to win. It doesn't matter how it looks. Get the W and move on. Birds up.
If you didn't watch the game, you would have thought Jalen Hurts was 0 for 1 with an interception and a fumble. Because that's all they talk about. So let's talk the real. Jalen Hurts, 10th career game-winning drive, most in Philadelphia Eagles history. Down Lane Johnson. Who's Lane Johnson? In his career, we have a 62% win when he's on the field. Without him, 39. Fred Jackson replaces him. Has not played a down in football tidy since 2021. Tyler Steen, second-year guy out of Alabama, he knows what's up. So our whole right side of our line, brand newbies, got to go out there in the second quarter, do what it do. We talked about Smitty going down. A.J. Brown's already down, so he's down 2 wide receivers. Or some could argue 2 wide receiver ones, you know. Jalen Hurts goes out there and wins us that game. 29-38, 311 yards, 29 rushing. He did what we needed him to do. You pay these guys because in the back of your head, if a situation like this ever occurred, you're the franchise quarterback, you're going to go win us those games. and that's what Jalen Hurts did. When Devontae Smith went down, I looked at my wife Felicity and said, look, we got 3 plays, 2 to Saquon, 1 to Dallas. I don't give a damn. I don't want to see a Jeff Wilson pass. I don't want to see a Caltera. I don't want to see Paris Campbell. 3 plays, divided however you see fit. They combined for 31 touches and 326 yards. Kaz, I have been on here preaching since we started this podcast that he's a top 5 tight end, and I've been called the buffoon. I've been called crazy. I was told Kyle Pitts was better than Dallas Goedert. So we're not going to go through there, but Saquon
Please tell
Barkley,
me I didn't say that. Please tell me I did not say that. Did I say that?
No.
Did I say that? Okay, I was I'm high on Kyle Pitts this year, but I was like, I don't think I would say that. But I was like, I'm not tripping.
So Saquon Barkley, I told everybody when we got Saquon Barkley, this was going to rejuvenate this offense. And we've seen it, even with our 2 receivers on the field. But without them, he's going to do his thing regardless. 73 touches, most in the NFL. 404 yards, second in the NFL. 5 touchdowns, tied for first. 5.6 yards per carry, 4th in the NFL. So, Kaz, you wondered how we're going to use him? We're going to use him in 13 million different ways. He is going to get it, and he is going to do what we got to do. If it's a receiving pass, if it's a handoff, Saquon Barkley is going to do it. And Toddy said that he won the game for us. Toddy, you're not a diehard, so I don't think you really noticed this. First play of the drive for the Saints. 5 down linemen. For week 1 and week 2, we only rushed 4. Vic heard the noise. He heard what y'all said after the Dirty Birds came and did us the way they did, which should have even been on them because Saquon should have caught it. But let's talk about what it is. 14 pressures. 3rd in the NFL. Would have been 2nd if it wasn't for the damn Bills. So until yesterday, it was 2nd in the league.
We recorded yesterday.
94.7% tackle rate, Toddy. That is 3 missed tackles. 40.7% pressure rate, almost half. Carr was 2 for 6 on play action, no touchdowns for 6 yards. First 2 games, 12 of 17, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns. We held them to 130 passing yards and 89 rushing yards. This was a team that people were saying, we're here. Toddy was its person who said the Saints were going to do this last year. He's like, Kevin, I was a year off. They're here now. Y'all ain't going to be able to get this game done. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, they're not going to get out there and do it. What am I going to sit here and say about Nick Sirianni? I'm going to give you guys the facts. Last season, 65% on 4th down. 2nd in the NFL. Before Sunday, 75% on 4th down. So when we're in the red zone 4 times on a 4th and 3, hey, Jake, we're not doing this. Because we're coming out and we're going to let you know that y'all just can't fuck with us. And we're going to come and we're going to do it every time. When your defense is playing like that, why not? Who we worried about? Rasheed Shaheed? Toddy mentioned he had 0 fantasy points. Taysom Hill? Alvin Kamara was looking like 2020 Alvin Kamara. Not against us. Jalen Carter heard that noise. Best rated defensive tackle that played this weekend. Jordan Davis is making noise. So am I upset with Nick Sirianni? No. I'm going to ride with it every time. Because what those numbers say, more than half of the time we're going to get it. Now look, what have you done for me lately? Like I mentioned, you got 2 brand new guys on the right-hand side. There's no way we're doing the tush push. There is no damn way. We're going to try to catch them off guard. Doesn't work. Pressure from the right side, new guys. I text Kaz at the end of halftime and said, we're going to figure it out. These new guys are going to get up to speed, and we're going to figure it out. And what do? 9:44 on the clock, 4th quarter, down 7-6. No Slay, no Mekhi Becton, no Lane Johnson, no Smitty. We need Jalen to go down and score. He does that. We get the ball back. And who gets this interception? The number 1 rated free safety in the NFL. Reed Blankenship. Y'all be forgetting. You can't say Eagles versus Packers without a Reed Blankenship interception. He did it to Aaron. He did it to Jordan. So what did Derek think? He ain't nothing compared to the other two. Interception, ball game. Was it ugly? Yes. Was it a little bit of luck? Yes. 9 times out of 10, those guys communicate and they don't run into each other. Let's call it what it is. Dallas Goedert, 11 catches, 170 yards. I love you, brother. I love you. Vic Fangio, you did your job. Jalen Hurts, when we needed you most, you showed up on that interception. If Devontae Smith runs through that route, it's a deflection. But, Tyrann Mathieu just jumped him, and it is what it is. I am happy to see Jalen Hurts taking shots because when you have a defense like that, you can. And there was a guy who played the Rams with none of his weapons and lost. Jalen Hurts gets it done. He is a winner. Nick Sirianni came out and said he's a winner. 77% win rate. He is a winner. That's all I'm going to say on that. The Eagles are serious. I know it's early, and let's be real, everybody. We all watch football. Saquon Barkley could have caught that pass and did a somersault for the first down. It is what it is. We lost the game. We should be coming in here 3-0, stamping that we're one of the best teams up there with the Chiefs and the Bills. So we will now be moving on to our Week 3 NFL recap. So, Kaz, I'm going to throw it to you first. Starting on Thursday Night Football, the New York Jets, for the first time in 5 years, beat the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I think that we finally are seeing what the Jets are capable of. The Jets, they have a good defense, as they should. They have Aaron Rodgers under center, and even though he's 40 years old, I mean, it's kind of hard for a guy like that to take a step back, even with the bad Achilles. When you got guys around you like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, even though he continues to struggle to find him in the ways that I would like, if you guys have seen my tweets, I've been very critical on Aaron Rodgers. I've been saying, like, yo, I'm a firm believer. I don't give a fuck who you are at quarterback. If you are that guy, you will find a way to get your number 1 the ball. I don't care. It don't have to be for 120 and on 5 catches like some Tyreek Hill shit. But no, if you are that guy, if you're surgical with it, you find a way to give him the ball. I'm not seeing it yet with Garrett Wilson. It's fine. I think that that Aaron Rodgers will figure it out as he progresses. But for the meantime, he's just finding the open guys like Alan Lazard, and he's even throwing the ball to Breece Hall and whatnot. And and Tyler Conklin. It's like, the Jets should have a good team, and the Patriots. I mean, I said it, I think week 1 after they beat the Bengals. I'm like, the Patriots might end up having a team where it's like they'll just play a lot of teams hard for whatever reason, and then that's just going to be the team that they are. They're going to play a lot of teams hard, and they'll have a couple games where they get blown out. But they will never be in a position to where, not with Jacoby Brissett, I'm sorry. And I like the guy, but let's just call it what it is. They're not going to beat a team 30-17. They're not going to beat a team 28-3 or nothing like that. No. If the Patriots are going to win, it's going to be in a defensive dominant fashion, or it's going to be in a way to where it's just, they're going against a team that doesn't really show up. But I mean, all in all, expected for sure, 100%. I think the Jets are a good team, and I think that as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be a playoff team. And if a playoff team plays a team like the New England Patriots, that I don't think is a playoff team, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to the Jets for handling business. I'm sure that was a big relief for Jets fans. Bigger relief for football fans, because you don't want to see a team like the Jets make the moves that they make and just be very bad. It's just not fun for football fans. You know what I mean? So nobody here is a Jets fan. We don't really care for the Jets, but it was really cool to see, Aaron Rodgers go back out there, put up a good chunk of yards, and even Garrett Wilson find the end zone for the first time this season. So expected, and the Patriots look like exactly how I thought the Patriots were going to look all season long. They looked absolutely terrible.
So Toddy stated earlier, a question to the panel. Are the Giants good? The Giants go to Cleveland and leave with a W, 21-15. Toddy, what were your thoughts?
Malik Neighbors, he's that dude, man. He's one of them ones. I have been one of these guys on here, maybe one of the few people. I feel like there's a lot more people now saying that he was the number one player, the number one receiver coming out of the draft. I just thought that the Browns are just. I feel like the Browns are one of the. They're in the same boat as the Jags. They have a quarterback who they're paying a lot of money to, and he sucks. And it's like we got guys on our team. Obviously, they have Nick Chubb, who is on IR still, or I think he's on the PUP list. He's there. You got Njoku, who I think is still hurt. Amari Cooper. They got guys on offense and they got guys on defense. And they got a really good coach. And their quarterback is unable to get their guys the ball on a consistent basis. This game, how it started, Cleveland recovered a fumble on the opening kickoff, scored a touchdown, and that was kind of like, oh shit, this might be this might be a wrap early. But no, Daniel Jones played well in this game. Devin Singletary played really well. I don't know if there's any guys out there in fantasy that have Devin Singletary, but he played really good. And obviously Malik Neighbors, he's a guy that demands a lot of attention from defensive coordinators for games to come. And I think the Giants got an unexpected win. That's why I say I didn't expect them to win this game. So that's why I'm like, are the Giants good? I don't know. We don't know who's good yet. It's been 3 weeks.
So, Kaz, as the sole fan of the Vikings fan club, you were the only one to pick them this week in the pick'em. What were you? I'm sure you expected a result like this. So, tell us what you thought when the Vikings sent the Texans home with a 34-7 loss.
Hold up, looking up my actual score prediction. Vikings Texans. Okay, so I had it being closer than that. I had the Vikings scoring 27 and the Texans scoring 23. The Texans are not that bad of a team at all. They're not. They're not. The Vikings are just damn good right now.
I feel like
Vikings
it's really hard to play there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And US Bank. I mean, I've been to Minnesota. I mean, it's loud, man. It gets pretty loud up in there, and that skull chant is real. It echoes.
Shout out to us.
But all in all, though, I thought it was crazy that the Texans were favored that game. I'm pretty sure by 2.5 points, I believe it was.
It dropped,
and I'm like,
before the game started.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't really know. I go because I mean, the Vikings don't look bad on offense right now. Strangely enough. Now, granted, I get it. Sam Darnold could have showed up and been the Sam Darnold that we all thought he was. And I'm telling you right now, I am Sam Darnold. I think that he's one of the rare cases where you got a first-round draft pick that finally got out of there early enough and went to a contender, and you see what can happen when that happens, and that usually doesn't happen. We're seeing it late with yeah, and we're seeing it late later with like guys like Baker Mayfield, and other guys like Mac Jones, and like who else was out of that terrible draft class? Like Justin Fields is doing it. He's on the Steelers now, has a really good defense, which he's never had before. Even in Chicago, like this is a possibility. And you know what? I think that even like guys like Justin Fields might have just solidified their starting spot from Russell Wilson until they go on a losing streak. So I think that I can't think of his damn name. Sam Darnold is a very competent quarterback, and he knows that if we're going to win these games, I got to get the best wide receiver in the NFL the ball, and look exactly what he's done for 3 weeks straight. On top of that, defense shows up for them. I'm like, they're at home. Why not? This is a perfect advantage for you guys to start off 3-0, which is massive for you, okay? And you guys get past the Texans, okay, your schedule is only going to get a little bit easier. It might maintain the same a little bit, but the Texans are a playoff team. And they're going against, the rookie of the year, C.J. Stroud, loaded roster, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, got a great head coach. This was a statement game for the Vikings, and not saying that I was confident on my pick, but I was not bullshit when I said I think they can win this game. I was very, very realistic when I was saying the Vikings can win this game at home, and they need to win this game at home, and that's exactly what they did. So Minnesota, continue to do what you're doing, and you will be one of the top teams in the NFC. I won't say in the league, but you'll be one of the top teams in the NFC because right now the NFC is looking kind of questionable. And the Minnesota Vikings, you might end up having a season, I think it was 2 years ago, where they're like, dude, they were like up there. They had a really good record, and then we squeaked past them. I think it was our 2022 season. The Vikings had a great record, and then we just kind of pulled away at the very end, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't 2022, it was 2021, but it was a year that Justin Jefferson, I think it was his second year, and they had like I want to say a 12-win season or something like that, 13 wins or something like that.
Probably
But
Kirk Cousins.
yeah. So I'm like, the Vikings are showing signs of doing that again. You wait till Jordan Addison and T.J. Hawkinson comes back. What are we gonna say about that offense? He's doing it with one guy, two guys. Aaron Jones, who's supposed to be on the down, this is supposed to be the downfall of his career. He's an older running back now, and Sam Darnold's not supposed. It's supposed to be just a name. Vikings are a good team. Deal with it.
So the next thing we'll be covering is the Broncos' 26-7 victory over the Buccaneers. And did Baker Mayfield turn into a pumpkin? Is the show over? Is the run over? 25-33 for 163 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Is Mike Evans, was he a one-hit wonder in the first week scoring 2 touchdowns? We saw Chris Godwin have a huge showing last week, and then he doubled down with 6 catches for 53 yards. But for you to allow a Sean Payton rookie quarterback and Bo Nix to throw 216 on you, boy, we're talking about explosive offenses. They got dudes I ain't never heard of.
Little Jordan Humphrey, baby.
Josh Reynolds is out there making plays. Javonte Williams is a power back catching the ball, making plays. Who would have thought Cortland Sutton could still do something? So with Bo Nix to go out there to have one of the best head coaches in the league, am I surprised this happened? Yes, but this was a game that got away early, and Sean Payton's not going to give the lead, no matter who he has out there. So the Broncos, Broncos country, let's ride. We're 1-2. You're in a really hard division. So to see what you'll do that far, it's hard to say. But for you to escape Tampa on the road to get your quarterback's first win, hell of a way to do it. So Toddy, your guy Jordan Love misses his second game, but the Packers don't miss a beat. Beat the Titans 30-14. What are your thoughts?
Malik Willis is he going to get a job somewhere? Like, this is a resurgence? Like, are they going to, kind of pump up his stock and he gets traded some way? They get, a third-round pick for Malik Willis? Like, he looks good. He looks comfortable, and I feel like that matters when it comes to coaching. You have to have a offensive-friendly head coach who's good with quarterbacks, good with calling plays. I feel like that plays a lot into young quarterbacks because they left him for dead in Tennessee. And then, all of a sudden he gets, I think in the offseason, during
With the Patriots, right?
Training camp from the Titans. You said he came from the Patriots?
Did he go to the Patriots, or was that just a rumor for a second?
Titans.
Malik Willis.
No, he was.
No, I know. I know he's with the Titans, but did he bounce somewhere, then bounce somewhere? Okay, never mind. Maybe they were just talking about it. My bad.
He was just on the back end of the roster. Will Levis was the guy. They were just he's not that good. We've seen him play, and in the game they played, a couple of games they played for the Titans, it was bad. So I feel like coaching definitely matters. Mike LaFleur is one of the better head coaches in the NFL. And I said Mike. It's Matt LaFleur. One of the better coaches in the NFL. He just makes it look easy for him. He's a guy who could run, can extend plays, and he looks good. He's they haven't lost. I feel like in both games that Malik Willis was going to play, thought they would be 0-2. They're 2-0 now. Jordan Love's going to be coming back. He's already practicing now, so it's looking like Jordan Love's going to be coming back within the next week or two. And they didn't miss a beat. So Levis, man, we need to be better.
Mason Rudolph needs to play next week.
It's getting to the point where it's all right, it's an open competition right now. So, do we start looking at other guys to come back? Do we bring Ryan Tannehill back? Do we look at somewhere in the offseason? Do we try for Bryce Young? These are conversations that you could start to look at and hey, we got the guys to do it. I just need my quarterback to be able to make the throws. And Levis has not proven to be able to make those throws. And it's looking.
Man got a message for you, Toddy. Marcellus says we're doomed as a Tennessee Titan fan.
Yeah. I think he's talking about the Niners. But Levis, I think you got another week or two, buddy. If we start seeing the same thing, you're cooked. You're cooked. I saw somebody said, Will Levis has more memes than touchdown passes on, which is pretty crazy. So
every week it's a new photo, man, and it's sad to see. So,
Hey,
Cat.
I want to say this. I do want to say this about Malik Willis. You heard what I just said about, highly scouted quarterbacks, okay, going to bad teams and he just get left for dead. You see what happens when you surround him with certain guys. I'm just saying he could be another one. I think you made a good point when you said, is he going to be a potential starter someday again, or maybe like a backup for a really, really good team? Like I could foresee it because again, he was just a name. He was a guy who wasn't NFL ready. Will Levis came in and took the show, and now all of a sudden he went out there and played phenomenal when he had guys around him that can make plays. Something's got to give when you see that happen. So, I mean, we might start to see a transition in the NFL when it comes to these young guys not getting the true opportunities on these crappy teams, get chances elsewhere on teams that have a good roster. So, good point on that.
So, Kaz, we'll swing to you next. The Los Angeles Chargers lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-10. What were your thoughts?
Their whole team died. Rashawn Slater out for a few weeks. Joe Alt, arguably one of the best tackles in the NFL. As of right now, he was playing as the best tackle in the NFL. He's out for a few weeks with the MCL sprain. Justin Herbert, high ankle sprain. He was already hurt before that. And then you got guys like Nick Bosa, who went out, I think, like in the first – or Joey Bosa, not Nick. Whatever, same thing, right? Both of them big, goofy-looking motherfuckers, right? Anyways, you got Joey Bosa going out. I believe he went out in the first quarter, first half. So, yeah, it was very early. Yeah, and then to top it off, Derwin James gets suspended, okay, for dirty play, I think it was. So the Chargers, if you're going to beat a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's going to hold you to probably less than 20 points on the regs, you got to be able to put up points, and you can't do that without your starting quarterback and two of your two best linemen, who are really good linemen. Rashawn Slater is not a joke of a lineman at all, and obviously, like I said, Joe Alt is at the time was the best tackle in football, and then expect you to win. So it was just a bad break for the Chargers. That's all. I think that if they have these guys back, they win that game. I do think it still stays very close, maybe within like 1 or 2 points, but. Again, defense. The Steelers have been a defensive dominant team since I can remember, man. Since I was a kid. I mean, I'm about 55 years older than y'all, so this is way back in the day. So the Steelers' whole identity has always been defense, always will be defense. Mike Tomlin always finds ways to win games and finish with a positive record, or at least at the time when it was possible to go 8-8 record. They had an advantage, took full advantage of it. Justin Fields 3-0. What more can I say? That's it.
Moving on to the Seahawks defeating the Dolphins 24-3. Kaz painted this picture perfectly. You got to have a solid backup. With Tua's history, you got to have something in place. I know last year you had a backup in Mike White, I believe, because you had him in the last year. He puts together 17 healthy games, and you say to yourself, he's okay. We don't need a backup quarterback. You know what, Snoop? Come on over. Skyler, you can stay. You started a playoff game for us. He can't even get the ball to guys. You have arguably 2 fast receivers in the NFL, and you can't get them the ball. When they're loading the box on HN, they're begging him to throw the football, and he just can't do it. So it's really sad to see Skyler go out the way he did, and then for him to get hurt, it's just a slender fuck of things that are going on out there. But the Seahawks are legit, and I've been telling y'all this before the year time started. Look at Tiny Face. He know. Every time I announce the Seahawks, I say NFC West champs, because that's how it is. One of the best young corner duels in the world. Geno is letting them know that he didn't write back, and it wasn't a fluke. For him to throw for 289 yards, 1 touchdown, he's doing his thing. DK Metcalf, you heard nothing but every other receiver this summer getting paid. People are talking about where's DK Metcalf, and he's out there showing early in the season that he's still one of the guys, but he's going to have to pay it again. So I'm just saying, everyone's been forgetting about the DK Metcalf of the world. So to see him flourish with this new coaching system in play, I'm excited to see it. And the Seahawks are a real threat. Talking about teams that are not a real threat, neither of these teams are a real threat. In the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears, the Colts beat the Bears 21-16, Toddy, with a top 15 quarterback in Caleb Williams. What were your thoughts?
I thought both quarterbacks made some what the fuck throws. I'll start with AR. AR had a really bad interception in the end zone where it was just like, why are we even thinking about throwing this? Kevin can attest to this because this is fantasy quarterback who I'm talking about. He is missing, like, guys are wide open and he's just sailing the ball. And I'm just like, bro, this is not good. And then you see him throw 50-yard bombs. And it's like, why can't we just get that for the – he's right there throwing the ball. He's literally right in front of you. Throw the ball right to him. Right over his head. Caleb, man, they're making him throw the ball 50 times, and this is his third game ever as a NFL starter. A lot is put on his shoulders. I mean, it's really, really tough when you're getting pressured literally on every single throw, every single drop back. It's like, I need time to throw the ball. Definitely saw some flashes in this game. He had like a juke spin around pass to a Doomsday that was nice. He had a what the fuck throw on the sideline where it was like, what are we looking at? Like, what do you see on this play that made you want to throw this ball? He had two of those, to be honest. They were both interceptions. And it's like both quarterbacks were turning the ball over so much, and it was kind of just like, who's going to turn the ball over the least to be able to kind of score off this? And that ended up being the Colts. I mean, I don't think the Colts' defensive line is as good, but they got to Caleb. And Anthony Richardson ran the ball, I felt nice. He had a couple of good effective runs that put his team in position to score. And Jonathan Taylor's really good at football. So I feel like, when AR doesn't have it, just turn around and hand the ball to 21 or 28, I think he is. And he's going to make nothing out of something out of nothing, basically. And Caleb, man, like, he threw for 300 yards, yeah, but let's watch the game. Are we watching the game, what he's doing? I get it, he's getting pressured a lot, but Caleb is still, like, not making good throws. And, I mean, he had his first touchdown throw in this game. Hooray. The Bears are still ass. It's like, I need you to be better. I stuck my neck out for you. I need you to get out there and make some shit happen. I said you guys were winning the division. That shit's probably not going to happen. I said they were going to the NFC Championship game. That couldn't be any further from the truth. Like, it's like...
That was crazy.
Keenan Allen didn't play. That might have something to do with it, but it's like, you can't not throw these terrible balls. Like, he's throwing some bad balls. Like, he doesn't look comfortable. Shane Waldron, it's like, I don't think he's going to be the guy long-term offensive coordinator. Eberflus is probably not good. He's going to experience some change fast. And that's not good for a young quarterback. I mean, Fields saw change fairly quickly when I think it was Nagy was the coach. They got him out of there so goddamn fast. And then Eberflus was the guy. And it's like, okay, defense is solid, but, like, your quarterback needs to look comfortable. And I feel like what the Bears are probably going to do in the future is get offensive line help and get an offensive-minded coach, which is why I was kind of shocked that Eberflus survived the whole Justin Fields, everything. Like, polls didn't really pick this guy. He was already there. But it's like, hey, let's give him a shot. And doesn't look good so far. So, I mean, hey, it's only week 3. I could say that, but you got Jaden Daniels on Monday Night Football looking like a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure is getting put. It just makes the Caleb performance look a lot worse. And I get his stat line, the yards were better, but it's like, if you watch the game, it's like, shit needs to change. And that could be the offensive line, but at the same time, Caleb has to play better as well.
Marcellus agrees with you. The Red Rocket over Caleb Williams. So moving on to the Carolina Panthers beating the Las Vegas Raiders. They scored 13 points through 2 weeks. Did that in 2 drives. 39 points for Andy Dalton to take off the headset, wipe off the cleats, and go out there and throw for 319 yards. Chuba Hubbard was dead to rights. Everyone thought Miles Sanders was the next guy for the Panthers. 21 rushes for 114. People thought Deontay Johnson was just going to die. Sent him to Carolina to die. Resurged his career. 8 catches for 122 yards and found the end zone. Adam Thielen, we saw how big of an impact he had last year. Before he got injured, he caught a touchdown. These are the same weapons, same old line, same play caller as Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young cooked? Or are the Raiders just bad? You know, it's hard to tell. 1 week, I'm still a Bryce Young fan, so Andy's got to go ahead and do it again. But week 1, for your first appearance, and who knows
the Bengals at home.
Uh-oh. So, Kaz, moving on. We have the Lions going to Arizona and surviving 20-13.
Same thing with the Eagles. Good teams find a way to win. The Lions are a good team. Didn't play remotely close to a perfect game outside of David Montgomery doing what he does, which is he moves the damn sticks, bro. I don't know how he does it, man, but he moves the damn sticks, bro. He might be one of the best in the league at moving the sticks. The man always lands forward, and I mean, he had again over 100 rushing yards. The Lions still need to get guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown involved. I mean, you can't have a guy of that caliber. He's in my top 5 wide receivers this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's still there. I really do. But you're getting guys like Jameson Williams involved, who was a former first-round draft pick who was showing the league like, yo, y'all must have forgot. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them injuries and all that other stuff fool you. My first year in the league, whatever, fool you. And then last year, I think it's year number 3 for him. I'm a name. I was a name for a reason. I'm still a name. But you got to get your playmakers the ball. I said it earlier. Good quarterbacks get the number 1 receivers the ball. It doesn't have to be for 150 and 5 touchdowns. But I better at least see 60 to 70 and 1. And that should be on a consistent basis if you were to ask me. So the Lions didn't play their best game, but they did what they were supposed to do, man. I mean, the Cardinals, they're still a team that doesn't have a true identity yet. And the Lions were a team that just 1 year ago was in an NFC Championship game, knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. They're a good team. They won a hard-fought game, and it is what it is. It's just that simple. You're not going to go out there. I mean, look at even Kansas City. Like, they're not going out there just rolling teams left and right. They're squeaking by every week. Like, they're just getting by. But being 3-0 is a big deal. Being 2-1 is a big deal. Detroit did exactly what they need to do to let the league know, hey, we're not going to let some scrubs just come up in here and beat us. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Their only loss, I think, was to who? The Bucs last week. The Bucs went in there. You know what I'm saying? They lost one at home. But the Bucs are a solid team. You know what I mean? Like, the Lions are going to beat bad teams outside of the 1 or 2 weeks where there's going to be some stupid upset that shouldn't happen. But this wasn't going to be one of them, and they won a grinder. So Detroit, they're a favorite to win. They did what they were supposed to do, and Arizona should be glad that it wasn't worse than that. So not surprised at all. A regular NFL game.
So we started this off with me telling you guys how I was the only person to pick the Eagles. Unfortunately, I was the only person to pick the Cowboys, and they lost 28-25. John Harbaugh said, Derrick Henry is no longer in Tennessee. You will not see 20-plus carries. We are not doing that anymore. But look here, buddy, when he did it, 25 times for 151 for a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson had a pedestrian game. He didn't really have to do much. So for them to be able to go on the road in Jerry's world and get a W, Kaz was talking when we were doing the preseason ranking, the preview of the schedule, they don't lose at home. They didn't lose a single game at home last year. So for them to come in here and continue to have these struggles, and yes, 28-25 looks like a nail biter to everybody who watched this game. Dak Prescott does what Dak Prescott does. He stat pats. So for them to get this game and get out of Jerry's with a W, you're always going to hear Jerry Jones come out after a game and give his opinions that no one asked for. So when someone asked why you didn't get Derrick Henry, he lied to the American people and said we couldn't afford him. They got $24 million in cap space, and Derrick Henry would have taken 5 of that. You gave Ezekiel Elliott 3. Was 3 the cut drive, nothing over 3. You get results like this. We talked about guys like Brandon Ayuk starting off slow. CeeDee Lamb doesn't fumble that ball. Who knows? We got guys like Terry McLaurin taking the route and not being a diva. CeeDee Lamb over there huffing and puffing, shaking his dreads, pouting. He's not having a good time. So the Cowboys are gonna cowboy early in the season. Like we've all mentioned, it's week 3. We don't know who everyone truly is going to be yet, but until they get Deron Bland back, this team's going to struggle defensively because you got Trayvon Diggs coming off of ACL, so you're expecting him to come back quickly. DeMarcus Lawrence is a rotational player now. Last year he was all on the mic screaming his thing, and they're now just have to solely focus on Micah, and they're taking him out of the game. So, Kaz, to end our weekly recap, we have the Chiefs escaping Atlanta with a 22-17 victory. What were your thoughts?
No Travis Kelce. I think that everybody that the Chiefs play are doing a damn good job of keeping him out the game. He's like 35 years old, so I mean he's gonna have continuous poor performances. I don't think that he's not as bad as being non-existent the way he's been, but I think that's been a lot of defensive schemes is to completely eliminate him and do what you can to contain guys like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and no what's his name the running back.
Brown?
Nope, Hollywood Brown.
Isaiah Pacheco.
I thank you, Lord. My God, so much football going on. I can't even collect. I don't know ball. I was gonna say Jamal Charles, but anyways, no Isaiah Pacheco, which is a big deal. They run with what's his name, Carson Steele. They do sign Kareem Hunt. I'm not even sure if he even saw any action. I did not watch a majority of this game. I kind of got glimpses of it. But the Chiefs are a good team, and they just went against the Falcons and that just beat our team, who I believe were a good team. Again, kind of similar to the Lions game where I'm like, I don't think the Falcons are terrible. I don't think that they're great. I'll say that. I don't think the Falcons are great, but I don't think that they're terrible. And I just think that the Chiefs are getting away with these wins, and they may not be a team that's going to put up, 40, 50 points a game like how the Saints started their season off for whatever reason, but good teams find a way to win, and what better team than the defending Super Bowl champions and, the multiple Super champions that has been led by Patrick Mahomes. How you win doesn't matter. Just win. So I think that a lot of the times the Chiefs are just showing up and they're playing. They're like almost like just figuring out, trying some new things, seeing what really works for them. And I think that they're doing it because they know that they can win these games while doing that. Okay. I'm not sure. They had the Ravens week 1, week 2. Who they have again? Week 2. You guys remember? The Bengals week 2. And then week 3, you have the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not saying that they're going into these games and just saying, hey, let's just kind of play mediocre football and just, play around with them. But I think if you're going to take advantage of your new weapons early and try to find out what you're going to do moving forward to go toward another championship, you got to try these things at some point. And I'd much rather try the new things out in the beginning of the season and still get wins versus later on in the season when it's critical, it's critical time and you need to win. So the Chiefs, I mean, they're just well coached. Everybody knows the refs usually sway their way. They did it this last game. They've done it every week so far. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But they're still winning games. And if you want to beat the Chiefs, you got to put your foot on their throat. I mean, you just got to. You're not going to win a close game against Kansas City unless it's going to come down to a Harrison Butker missed field goal or, I don't know, a botched snap or something crazy like that. But bone on bone, you're not taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. They're too loaded on offense and defense. They just are right now. So, Chiefs were supposed to win that game. They did win the game. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons for putting up a good fight. But, I mean, again, just like the Lions game, not surprised.
So we have officially made it to we have one more segment of episode 114. So we are going to get this, Kaz. I don't think you've ever done a this or that. So we have a this or that. So Kaz, I am going to say, so for basketball references, where if we did a this or that LeBron James, I would say a name and you would tell me who you'd rather have.
Michael Jordan.
So if one of the names was Michael Jordan, you would pick LeBron or Michael Jordan. We're not going to get into that. We don't have enough time left, but so For this week of This or That, Cass said he was a big fan of this guy, so we're going to see exactly how big of a fan he is. This or That, Sam Darnold edition. First name, Justin Herbert.
So, Justin Herbert, healthy Justin Herbert. I've seen way too many yards get put up by that guy. Give me a healthy Justin Herbert all day over Sam Darnold. You want me to go into further analysis?
I can just real quick. Real quick.
Gotcha. Yeah. So too many yards from Herbert. I've seen it way too many years.
Herbert. Yeah.
I'm gonna take Herbert as well. We haven't seen enough of Sam Darnold. Next name, Derek Carr.
Sam Darnold.
I'm going Sam Darnold as well.
Yeah, Derek has been irritating.
Sam Darnold. Yeah. Sam Darnold.
Next name up, Baker Mayfield.
Give me Baker.
Baker Mayfield. Damn it.
I think I got to go Sam. I know we haven't seen as much, but I think Sam's the real deal, and we'll get to see that later on as the season goes. Next game, Geno Smith.
Give me Sam Darnold. Geno Smith sucks.
Okay.
I'm taking Geno in a heartbeat.
I don't think me and Toddy agree too much often, but I'm right with you, man. Let me go ahead and take Sam Darnold on this one, bro.
Next name, Jaden Daniels.
Jaden. Come on, man.
Come on, bro. the man already set NFL records. Jaden Daniels all day. All day.
Well. Next game,
Oh.
Justin Fields.
Ooh, this is kind of close.
I'm going Sam Darnold, bro. I love Justin Fields. I'm a Ohio State fan. I'm taking Sam Darnold.
Yeah, let me take Sam
Justin
Darnold.
Fields without a good defense.
Yeah, let me take Sam Darnold. I'm just simply going to put Justin Fields on the Vikings. Do I think that they win 3 games in a row? I don't think so. They got 3 with Pittsburgh, but I don't think Justin Jefferson is having the games that he's been having with Justin Fields on the ball. No. So give me Sam.
Toddy?
I'll take Sam Darnold.
Next name, Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, Sam Darnold with.
I was gonna say that. Could you imagine him on the Dolphins? Give me Sam Darnold.
Damn, over Tua, he's making 200. I think we have to respect Tua.
I'll take Tua.
I'm gonna say Tua.
Slightly, very slightly. I'll take Tua. Again, kind of like similar with Justin Herbert, but not as great. But I'm like, I've seen it. I don't care who. You can't.
It's closer.
Yeah, you can't discredit him for having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and get on them yards. He's still be putting up hella yards. Right? He's done it for a couple of years. So let me get Tua.
Save the best for last. I don't even have an answer filled out for this one. Anthony Richardson.
Oh my gosh. Bro, AR looks bad with an offensive coach.
You got the upside, though. I couldn't tell you who to pick. I want to hear who you guys pick.
I'll say it right now. I'm taking Sam Darnold, bro. I think what makes a good quarterback is decision-making. And decision-making in critical...
Decision-making is terrible.
I don't know what's... I got Anthony Richardson on my damn fantasy too, bro. So I'm seeing it every week. I'm like, dog. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm watching the games. I'm like, bro, like, you are Cam Newton 2.0. Run it in. Why are you tossing it underhand to the defense like that? That's too bad. I'm sorry. No,
it's crazy because I had AR on my fantasy team last year.
He's playing as bad as like Marcus Mariota, dog. I don't think Sam Darnold on his worst day is playing as bad as Marcus Mariota. I'm going Sam Darnold.
Toddy?
I love AR too, man.
I love AR, bro.
I was high on him, bro. I think it'd be great.
I'm gonna say AR still because he's young. He hasn't played. Sam Darnold's played a lot. He's played like 50-some games, 60-some games. AR's played like 5 games. Peyton Manning once upon a time threw the most interceptions as a rookie. That's all I'm going to say. Still say AR.
Did they look like that, though? God damn.
Man, that's what I'm saying. They look like shit.
That's what they look like shit. Sam Darnold looked like shit his first couple of years.
Bro, this man said, 3 Bears?
I'm giving AR the benefit of the doubt. I'm holding on.
I am as well holding on. I'm going to go Anthony Richardson here as well. So that concludes episode 114 of Stats Over Politics. Kaz, once again, we want to thank you for being a recurring guest co-host on these football Sundays or football recaps. We definitely appreciate you guys. And we didn't do our week 4 picks because you guys have to follow us on our social medias to make sure you see those picks. So when we come back next week and Kaz, if he's got to rock with his other picks, he picked an upset that everyone's not going to believe. So you'll never know what it is unless you check us out on social medias. Kaz, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so if you guys want to follow my football content or my Twitch streams where we talk about football life, relationships, fitness, all that good stuff, Kazzy Bear TV, all one word. But if you are into fitness, you want to check out my fitness channel on my Instagram, it is SSJ Kazzy Bear. That's where I do my business. That's what I do for work. So if you're into something like that, I do online training and whatnot. But if not, Kazzy Bear TV on all socials. And yes, Toddy, I be out here lifting weights, my brother. I see you flexing.
So we will see you guys next Monday. I repeat, next Monday, following the game. Will Toddy show? Will they lose to the Patriots? Who knows? I guess you'll have to wait to see on this next episode of Stats Over Politics. We are signing out. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night.